Revenge films.
My name is Bob Brown. This is a story from when I was in 9th grade. First of all, to set the scene, I have to say that my father was a very hardcore military maniac. And because of that, I was also interested in these things too. When I was small, my dad and I would do these weird games. For example, when we would play torpedo plane, my dad would pretend his hand was a torpedo plane. So, to fight it off, I would have to shoot it down with an anti-aircraft machine gun. As I grew older, I knew this whole game was really stupid, but when I didn't play along with him, Dad would pull his super sad face. I thought to myself, he was like a little kid, and played along with him. One day, I had to go on a short trip for my club's away match, so my dad came over to send me off. As usual, he raised his hand in salute. It was kind of embarrassing for me to see him do that in front of everyone, but I also didn't want him to look all sad, so I saluted back and went on the bus. But then on the bus, the topic was the dude who was saluting. Whose dad is that? That's your dad, isn't it, Bob? My close friend called out to me. The whole grade kind of knew that I was military nerd, so... Your dad's pretty funny. Props to you for playing along with your dad. That's cool. I was glad my clubmates weren't weirded out by him. Because we were chatting happily like this on the bus, we were able to ease our nervousness before our match. We also did well in the tournament, so everyone said, maybe it was thanks to your dad's salute? Hey, let's invite him to our matches or something. I felt happy and grateful for my dad. We soon ended our sports trip and returned back to our school. But I wasn't able to spot my parents who were supposed to pick me up. As I went around to look for them, Jacob, my best friend at the time, and his mom came over to me. She said to me,
"Welcome back, Bob. You must be tired. Come over to our place and let's have dinner together."
Thank you, ma'am, but I just came back, so maybe next time? Both Jacob and I were pretty tired from our matches, so I politely declined her offer, but...
Come on. Just come over to our place for tonight, understood?
She was smiling, but her words sounded strong. What? That's... I was very confused, but she grabbed my hand and pushed me into her car. Hey! Mom, what are you doing? Can't you see he's tired? Let him go home. Jacob tried to cover for me, but she snapped.
Just stay quiet.
I was able to catch her expression in the rearview mirror, but she looked like she was running away from something. She also seemed strange as we drove on. She would meet other moms from my grade and say hi, and drive down streets she was clearly not used to.
Okay, I'll turn right here, and I'll drive straight through this road.
She took the longer route on purpose. Honestly, I was drained at this point. Why is she taking all these long routes? Just want to get home and relax. I thought to myself, but it was true that she obviously looked different as she drove. So I decided to keep quiet, but it seemed that Jacob still had no idea what was going on. Like, Mom, what are you doing? Bob's super tired. He just wants to go home. Let's stop this already. As he cried out, his mom replied, but it was not what I was expecting.
If you get out of the car now, you'll get killed,
she said. What? Both Jacob and I were shocked by her words. It didn't seem like she was joking around. Because I've known her for a long time, I knew she wasn't the type to say those kind of jokes. Even after we arrived at Jacob's place, his mom looked around the house, checking if everything was all right. Once she decided the coast was clear,
come in quickly.
And I entered Jacob's house. I was still confused as hell and had no idea what was going on. And I just followed her instructions and went inside the house to sit down for a second. Jacob and I started eating the food that was served, but what she said earlier was stuck like a thorn, and I didn't have an appetite. I couldn't eat it all. It seemed like that was the case for Jacob as well. Hey, Mom, what did you mean by what you said back there? Breaking through the heavy atmosphere, Jacob tried asking his mom, but the moment he said that, the phone suddenly rang. It really surprised me. The phone call was from my mom, and soon after that, Jacob's mom drove me back home. My parents were waiting for me in front of our house doors, and they told her their thanks. We need to help each other in times like this, she replied, and went back home. It's only a 10-minute walk to Jacob's place, and we've been running back and forth to our home since we were in kindergarten. Adding to the mystery was my parents' attitude, and I tried asking them what was going on, but all they gave me was an evasive response. I went to bed early that day, and the next morning, when I saw my parents acting very normally, I just shrugged it off and didn't ask them what happened. 2 months passed, and my parents called me over to have a chat. I was able to hear what really happened that day. After hearing the true story, I got shivers down my spine. Apparently, on the day of that away match, Kevin's mom, he's in the same grade, different class, coincidentally passed by and saw my dad and I saluting.
To think that a militarist family is in this school. Unbelievable. Before their warrism mindset takes over our children, the school should take responsibility and expel.
Despite it being a public school,
This kid.
she expressed her concerns to the school and went around looking for parents that agreed with her. The school and the parents around her tried to calm her down and convince her that it wasn't like that. However, Kevin's mom vowed to kick me and my family out of my school. She spread rumors around the whole school, and soon the story reached my classmates and their parents, to Jacob's mom, and finally to my parents. My parents were aware that Kevin's mom knew their faces, so that's why they didn't come over to pick me up. Jacob's mom drove me home in their stead. And to make sure Kevin's mom didn't approach me to say stuff, she took longer routes and had other classmates' moms wait around the neighborhood to make sure Kevin's mom wasn't around. I was finally able to understand why Jacob's mom was acting so strangely that day. A month after the away match, I kept seeing my classmates' parents on the route to school almost every day. Now I know that was because they wanted to check Kevin's mom didn't show up to assault me or something like that. Jacob also stayed behind to head home with me too. In the end, Kevin didn't seem to remember what my face looked like, so
I can't let my child stay in a school filled with militarists.
she demanded, and convinced her husband to move out of town about 2 months later. I thought, now that's exaggerating at first, but apparently Kevin's mom was planning to catch me off guard after school, physically hurt me, and make me unable to go to school. Ropes and whatnots were found in Kevin's mom's car. There were rumors that she was trying to kidnap me. I mean, on days that I was heading home in the evening, I would see Kevin's mom on the street sometimes, but I think she wasn't able to do anything because I was always walking with someone else. Kevin's mom's plan gradually shifted from, let's get him expelled, to, I can just make Bob physically difficult to go to school. When I realized that, I was genuinely terrified. If it weren't for the local classmates' families and them taking turns to watch over me, I might have been in some serious danger. After hearing the whole story, I realized how many people were involved just to protect me. I could understand my own parents trying to protect me at all costs. But other parents were also taking turns watching over me every day. Jacob also came around to say, "Let's go home together. It's dangerous to walk alone, bro." In hindsight, I think its parents told him to say that to me. A few years later, I heard from a friend that Kevin's parents got divorced. Because they moved quite far, Kevin's dad had to travel much farther to get to his workplace. He got tired from all the rush hour fatigue, and he proposed a plan to maybe live separately for a while. Then, Kevin agreed to that plan, said he wanted to stay with his dad. The mom wasn't happy, and it led to her beating Kevin, which then led to the police coming around, and that was it for the family. Obviously, it was all Kevin's mom's fault because of her irrational behavior. She was hated by both her son and her husband, and in the end, Kevin and his dad went over to his grandparents' place for a while. Honestly, Kevin never said or did anything to me, and he's also a victim in this case. I almost felt bad for him. If his mom didn't say anything crazy, we would have still been in the same school, so she said all that stuff about me and my dad, but ended up wrecking her own family. How ironic. I think she deserves it, though.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.